Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth McCravey, a website designer and business coach for entrepreneurs and your host for the Breakthrough Brand podcast, the show that's all about pulling back the curtain on how to actually build a successful business. I don't skim the surface around here. If you want a deep dive into the nitty-gritty details of what it takes to run a successful business and stand out in a crowd, you're in the right place. After creating a multiple six-figure-a-year website design business in my 20s, I'm ready to share everything I've learned and everything I'm still learning because I believe the keys to building a thriving business should never be a secret. Here you'll find episodes that are actionable, direct, and fun, like friends chatting business over coffee, and a fresh, honest take on the reality of being an entrepreneur. If you're ready to master online marketing, branding, website design, mindset, and business strategy, then this is the podcast for you. It's time to build your breakthrough brand. Let's do this. All right, friends, today you are in for a treat. My bookkeeper, Madison, is here to answer all of your business bookkeeping questions, and it's such a fun conversation. She and I have a lot of fun chatting about all this, but it's also jam-packed with so much great content, and I think you're really going to leave this feeling way more confident in the way you manage your money and know your books for your business. And I answer your actual questions. So a few weeks before, or maybe like 1 week before I recorded this episode, I asked you guys on Instagram what bookkeeping questions you wanted us to tackle, and we go through the majority of what you asked. So to give you a little summary, a little bit of a sneak peek into what you'll hear us talk about and what you'll learn, here are some of the questions I asked Madison. How to find a bookkeeper who is right for your business. How bookkeeping is different from accounting. That's a really important differentiation there. When is it time to hire a bookkeeper versus DIY in your books? And we also talk about what that looked like in my own business. How is legitimate bookkeeping different from keeping a really detailed spreadsheet? We talk about QuickBooks reports that are most important to pay attention to for online business owners. What's the best way to organize receipts and invoices? That one is super, super helpful. And then we talk about how to get started with your bookkeeping if you've done nothing up until this point and you're like, what even is bookkeeping? We got a lot of stuff for you there too. And a fun thing, literally 2 weekends ago, I guess now at the time of me recording this intro, I actually got to hang out with Madison in real life over the weekend. So she lives in Houston. You guys know I live in Nashville, but she was here for the weekend actually to do a photo shoot for her business. And we ended up getting to hang out and go to dinner and have ice cream. And we hung out for like 4 hours straight. And it was so much fun. It's one of those kinds of things where like, I know many of you can relate to this, but we have like online business friends where we really only talk over Zoom or email or Instagram or whatever. And that's how Madison and I have kind of been. We've known each other for a while now, but we hadn't got to meet in person yet. And it felt like we were just picking up on an amazing friendship that we had just like left off on the internet though. So it was really fun hanging out with her in real life. And I just know you guys are going to love her as much as I do. So here it is, the conversation with my bookkeeper, Madison Brown. Enjoy. Okay, guys, I'm so excited. Sitting here with my wonderful, beautiful, amazing bookkeeper, Madison Brown. Welcome to the show, Madison.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes. Okay, guys, we're talking literally all things money, like diving into literally calling this Ask My Bookkeeper Anything. And I asked you guys on Instagram, what questions do you have for Madison? And you guys sent so many good questions, and we have them all in a document. And we're going to kind of go through as many of them as we can. But to start, Madison, I want you to tell everyone a bit about who you are, what you do, and who you help.
Absolutely. I am Madison Brown. I'm the owner of Madison Dearly Bookkeeping. I serve online business owners and I take the bookkeeping responsibilities off of their plate. I primarily serve a lot of photographers, business coaches, graphic designers, copywriters, and I love it. I'm just the happiest little nerd when someone gives me their books to clean up. It is so fun for me to get to take that off of someone else's plate.
Yes, and you're so great at it. And I mean, gosh, you now work with so many people that I know too, which is really fun. I was just messaging with someone earlier who said they just hired you. So,
oh, I love that.
Yeah. Okay, so this first question, this was one you guys literally sent in, but we'll also kind of help tell a little bit about how we met. But the question was, where did you find your bookkeeper? How did you know they were the one to hire? And I think our story of starting to work together is fun. Like, so let's kind of share it. So you messaged me on Instagram. You take it over. This is how we started working together.
So I'm that person that just like, we're best friends and you don't know it yet. So I went out on a limb and I sent you a video DM, and I had been listening to your podcast from the very beginning, and you were painting a picture of like, I'm in this corporate job. I'm just showing up. I don't really have much to do during the day. And this is just not my thing. And you were basically describing my life. So I sent you a video DM, literally sitting in my office at my old job, and was like, hi, you don't know me, but I want to have my own bookkeeping business someday. Like, let me know if you need help with your bookkeeping. And then I followed up with this like really long email, like, here's my background, here's what I love to do. And then I didn't hear from you for months, which was like, okay, no harm, no foul, like whatever. But then in April of last year, you emailed me back and were like, hey, sorry for this really delayed response, but I actually had a bookkeeper when you emailed me, and now I need one. Like, do you want to work together?
Yep.
That's a little bit different story of how it came to be.
Yeah, I mean, and that is like, so that's like the question, that was one you guys sent, so many of you, where did you find your bookkeeper? Like, that definitely is like an abnormal experience, but did feel so right. And like, something I'll add to that when we think about like hiring a bookkeeper is like, you might take a few times before you find the person who's right for you, which was the case for me. And yeah, the first time you reached out to me, I had a really overwhelmed inbox, and it didn't make sense at the time to hire someone. But then I still remember like when I was having trouble with what I was trying to figure out who to work with, Adam, my husband, was like, hey, wasn't there a girl who messaged you about booking that you said was a really sweet message? And I was like, yes. And then I literally was like, she's the one. And I told him that. I was like, she's the one, after we talked on the phone. But it really did feel that way. And I think you want to find someone you click with, who you trust. And I know you said you didn't want to like literally say this on the podcast, but tell me the comparison you made right before this of what bookkeeping's like.
Yes. So finding the right person is really important, because having a bookkeeper is like having a gynecologist, because they literally see everything. I know everything about your business, backwards and forwards, how much you spend in your expenses, how much you're making. So it feels really vulnerable, but having the right person is key.
Yes. Yeah. And I thought that was a funny comparison, because it really does feel like that. Like, I was joking right before this that Madison knows like everything. Like, she literally knows all the things about my business. You are like examining the Black Friday sale, like, you know, all the nitty gritty details. So it is important to find someone who you trust and who will like take care of your business and love it like you do. So yeah, so that's how we found each other. So fun.
Yay.
Okay, so now another question, and this was one that like some people were asking, and also just for people listening right now who are like, yeah, bookkeeping, I'm not really sure what that is. How is bookkeeping different from accounting? Because a lot of people think they're the same, get them mixed up, all of that. Interrupting this episode with a suggestion for the small business owners listening. Ever wonder what you should do for healthcare when you and your spouse are both self-employed, so there's no work-provided health insurance to participate in? Well, when my husband Adam joined me in the entrepreneurial job space over 4 years ago, we joined Christian Healthcare Ministries instead of getting traditional health insurance. And it was the best decision for us, especially in these years of growing and raising a family while also running multiple businesses. CHM is a health cost-sharing ministry and is a faith-based alternative to health insurance. We did tons of research before choosing CHM, and if you know me and Adam, you know we are all about doing the math when making big or small financial decisions. And even though it's not insurance, CHM shares 100% of eligible medical bills, which is more than the typical 70 or 80% of medical bills paid for by insurance companies. All sharing is determined by the CHM guidelines, which you can check out before and after joining. And for the mamas and mamas to be listening, you truly cannot find a better healthcare option for maternity care. I had a vaginal delivery and a C-section and birth center care and hospital care between my 2 pregnancies and births, and it was all 100% shared for. And outside of birth, we've had our share of emergency room visits and procedures as a family, and those costs were all shared by members at Christian Healthcare Ministries, leaving us only paying our monthly contribution. information. CHM is less expensive month to month than insurance, and because there's no network, you can choose your care with whichever providers best fit your family. I seriously just cannot recommend Christian Healthcare Ministries enough. You've got to check them out. Go to elizabethmccravy.com/CHM for more information. Also putting that link in the show notes, elizabethmccravy.com/CHM. Now back to the episode.
Yeah, so this really trips up a lot of people when they're like, it's cool that you do bookkeeping, but I have no idea what that means or what kind of service that you provide. So are you a Grey's Anatomy fan?
No, but I'm sure plenty of people are listening, but no, I want to watch it though. I should try it.
All right. Well, I am going to paint a picture using Grey's Anatomy. So when the OGs were interns, they're helping take x-rays and they are sitting behind like the glass thing where they're pressing buttons and they're helping paint a picture. So they're making sure that the patient is comfortable and they're making sure that everything's being done correctly. They are collecting data. So in this analogy, the intern is the bookkeeper. And then that data is then put into a nice, pretty x-ray picture and given to the surgeon, who is the accountant in this scenario. And they're the one that's looking at the picture and they're going to help you with strategy. So an accountant is someone that knows the IRS rules and regulations. They can help you file your taxes. They also go by a CPA, which is a certified public accountant. And they're the one that's really going to help with strategy. Some people have an accountant in-house that can help you become more profitable, but a lot of times the accountant is going to help you file your taxes and your bookkeeper is going to help you with your data and having a really clear picture of the business, the health of your business finances.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And I think of it too, like the bookkeeper is in your business frequently, like looking like kind of not necessarily day in and day out, but like something happening at least monthly. Whereas the accountant you might only work with at tax time or when you're making like I was talking to Madison about this beforehand, but I'm changing my status to an S Corp for tax filing. It's like, that's an accountant related thing that does not happen all the time, but then you work with an accountant for something like that. Okay. That's really helpful. Okay. Now another question that was sent in. When do you know it's time to hire a bookkeeper for your business versus DIYing your bookkeeping?
Oof, there is not really a good hard and fast rule when it comes to this, because a lot of people, when they first start their business, are just so overwhelmed and confused that they're like, take my money. I don't know what I'm doing. Please do it for me. But a lot of people can really DIY it themselves and get to understand what it means to do bookkeeping and understand their business activity until they get to really that tipping point of, this is taking a lot of my time. I understand how to do it and I actually might even enjoy it, but I need that time to put my creative energy into the rest of my business. So I think that tipping point is really when it's the best time to hire a bookkeeper, because honestly, if you're stepping into that CEO role, bookkeeping is below your pay grade. So having someone else do it and then hand you those financial reports makes you the CEO and you get to make those big business decisions.
I like that. And that feels like how it was for me. Would you say that's how it was like for me with hiring you maybe? That's how.
Totally. I could sense that too from you, that you were kind of getting to a point of growth where clearly you love to do your own bookkeeping. You had your own spreadsheet. You were in it day in and day out. And you just were at this point of, I want to grow my business. I want to really, truly move the needle and find more profitability, and I need to outsource this to someone else.
Yeah. And if you're someone who has a high transaction business, I would say that helps. That changes up a bit too, because as service businesses, sometimes you might only have like 4 payments coming in a month that are just from those clients you're working with at the time. But when you have a shop, it could be hundreds of payments where it's like, that's a lot to manage, which kind of leads me to my next question. Do you have anything else with that one before I ask it to you? Okay. Yeah, with this one, this is for the spreadsheet people. So I'm a spreadsheet, like kind of, okay, so let me back up a second to clarify this one. But when I started my business, still, I've had a spreadsheet system where it's one giant sheet with an overview. It has income and loss for every single month. And when I was just doing services, that worked really well for tracking what was going in and out. It wasn't tracking, categorizing stuff because all the expenses were just on their own page. But it helped me like keep nice tabs on my number. And that kind of felt like bookkeeping to me in a way. And I was using QuickBooks self-employed alongside that and categorizing stuff myself. And that worked for years. And really last year, it didn't work that well either. But I loved having it of like the seeing my money go in, seeing what's going out, projecting based on, template payment plans and things like that. But I needed something like what you're doing now of using like actual QuickBooks and reporting and categorizing stuff better. So for listeners who are like spreadsheet crazy and they're like, I really just am using this sheet and that's all I want to do for my bookkeeping, what thoughts would you have for them about using like a software alongside or in exchange for the spreadsheets?
Sure. I love that you use the term spreadsheet crazy. That is so great. There is nothing negative about using a spreadsheet. I think spreadsheets are great when you're first starting out in your business or you just want to have a really strong awareness of all of the business activity flowing in and out of your business. But there are really two reasons why I recommend having a good accounting software. One is that a spreadsheet leaves so much room for human error. We may forget to input a transaction into the spreadsheet. We might type in the wrong amount. The formulas might not be calculating properly, and we might not even know that. So you're looking at numbers that you're not really sure that you can rely on because there is that room for human error. And the second reason why I really recommend an accounting software is it gives you really good reports. So you can really massage the data and run certain things to be able to see pictures that you wouldn't get to see with a spreadsheet. An insight like this is really key to moving the profit needle in your business.
Yes, I love that. Yeah. Avoiding human error, which I mean, gosh, Madison, literally, I was looking through my 2019 spreadsheet and realized for 2 particular months, it wasn't adding everything up. I'd had that number wrong this whole time because it was like, you guys, how you add in like the cells are all being summed up. It's like it was missing the top like 4 of them kind of thing. So yes, I mean, you're so right that and that's something that was on me of like not checking better, but yeah, the reports are awesome. Avoiding that human error. But one thing I appreciated about hiring you was that you didn't make me feel bad about using spreadsheets. No. And you were like encouraging me to like continue with it because I do like having that pulse on the numbers all the time, especially like projecting template payment plans and knowing what's coming that month, which for people who work with clients, that's helpful too, to know, okay, if they have 6 payment plans, like what can you expect, even looking to like February 2021, like what is going to happen, it's helpful.
Exactly. And do you remember the first time that you showed me your spreadsheet?
You were like excited about it, right? You thought it was good?
Like, show off. This is amazing. It was really cool to be able to see how you had been doing it. But again, just going back to that tipping point, you had been doing this and putting your time and energy into it. And as cool as it is, you really need to be able to expand your creative energy by shaving off that time in your week and doing something that's going to move the needle and bring you joy. You didn't become a business owner to do the bookkeeping. You want to do website design and template sales.
Yes. Yeah. That's really helpful. So spreadsheet people, listen to that, rewind if you need to hear it again. I think that's a helpful way to think through it. Okay. Other questions people sent you guys. These all might feel kind of random order. I'm literally just going through the different ones you guys all sent in. I liked this question a lot. What reports should I be paying attention to in QuickBooks, or if they're using another bookkeeping software, just like what reports, when people think about keeping their books, should they be looking at?
Sure. So if you don't hear anything else in this podcast, hear this. Run your profit and loss statement. Sometimes it's also called an income statement. So once you do your bookkeeping, you categorize all of your revenue, all of your expenses, you're going to be able to see a really clear picture, which is called a profit and loss statement. This includes all of your sales and your revenue at the top, it backs out all of your expenses in the middle, and it's got the net income at the bottom. So for Elizabeth, she's got template sales at the top. She has a little Etsy shop that she has, a little bit of affiliate income. In the middle, those expenses by category look like ads, marketing, office supplies, contractors. And then there's that one big bottom line that's your net income, which really helps you gauge, how did I do this month? So that profit and loss report is everything. And QuickBooks and so many different accounting softwares have plenty of reports that you can use, but that one is key to be looking at every single month.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that one, yeah, you're right. It's so clear of seeing exactly how you're doing. And if you're not paying attention to that, like that's a big problem with your business. Like you should know how what went in, what went out financially. Any other reports you can think of that people should look at, or custom reports even that you'd recommend trying?
Yes. So one custom report that I really like to run for my clients that's helpful for them is called a sales by product or service summary. And that's the name in QuickBooks. Yeah. So for Elizabeth, what this looks like is the sales by different template. For photographers who have an online shop, this might be what different things that you sold and what the percentage of that was. So you're really getting to see this clear picture of the things that are selling well. And I love this report because a lot of times when I give it to my clients, they actually change their marketing strategies based off of this report. So they're looking at what they did in the previous month. Was I talking about something in Instagram stories? Did I pay for a Facebook ad? And these are the hard numbers that show you how many people pulled out their wallet to pay for what you were talking about. Did your strategy work? And if it did, you can replicate it again in the next month, or test something new and see if it gives you the same results based off of these numbers. And if you really don't know those numbers, you're not able to see what's working and what's not.
Yeah, no, and that really is so helpful. And thinking too about like, if you're a service business, even in like within QuickBooks, you're categorizing like even just broadly, like the main different types of work you do, like you have it broken down for me pretty heavily. So we can see like exactly, like for me, I can see exactly how much I'm making from affiliate income, exactly how much from each template, like you were saying, or from different types of one-on-one services. If you're doing that, yeah, it could help. It helps so much of like, where is your money actually coming from?
Yes. And I think it also helps you evaluate the things that bring you joy, because something could be bringing you a lot of profit, but little to no joy. So if it's bringing you a ton of profit, you might kind of stick around for a little bit just for the cash flow. But if it's something that's really not bringing you any profit and it doesn't bring you any joy, this picture is going to tell you that you can cut it loose.
Yes. Yes. Any other reports, or are those the main two?
No, those are the main two that I would stick with.
Yeah, and that's helpful. Keep it simple. I like that. And I want to add in one. I want to add in a report you did for me though that I think is helpful, of like how in QuickBooks, I guess it's more running like a category of expense report, but like advertising, you ran that for me once, where I was able to see, okay, here's how much was on Facebook ads, here's how much is on all the other types of ads. If you're running a certain kind of campaign within your business, of a certain special project, you can see how much that whole project comes out to cost. For something like Black Friday, you ran a report that showed exactly how much was, how much happened with Black Friday expenses, all of it, which is helpful.
Yes.
All right. So next question. Okay, let's see. What's the best way to organize receipts and invoices?
I love this one because we've really been working on this with you this year, and huge pat on the back to you, because this is something that just feels like it might be new for you, but it's new for a lot of people as far as it goes for receipt organization and documentation. So I am not the biggest stickler when it comes to receipts. I think it's best practice to always keep your receipts, because if you do get audited by the IRS, you want to have that documentation, because you could spend $200 at Target and get blouses and jeans, or you could spend $200 at Target and get office supplies and small equipment. And you want to be able to show them that what you purchased really was 100% related to your business. So when it comes to things like monthly software that you're paying for, it's pretty easy to say this is related to my business. And that's not something that I'm a huge stickler about keeping receipts for on a monthly basis. But I totally recommend HubDoc. All of my bookkeeper friends rave about HubDoc. So it syncs directly to QuickBooks. You can snap pictures and upload it directly to your HubDoc. You can take the email invoices that you get and put them into HubDoc. And again, it syncs directly to QuickBooks. So it's just a good place to organize everything.
Okay. So I need to start using that then. I'm not
Let's
using
do it.
Yeah. You know how I'm doing it. I'm saving them all to my computer as they come in and then uploading them to Google Drive for you. So you're saying that would bypass it because it'd put them in QuickBooks and then you're like matching them with the transaction?
Yes.
Oh, that
Let's
makes it
do
so much
it.
easier. Okay. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense. And that sounds like an awesome tool. We will link to that in the show notes. Yeah. Okay. Another question that relates directly to this receipts one. How important is it to keep every single receipt of every purchase? That's a question someone sent in.
When it comes to those monthly transactions, that it's just a subscription that you pay for every month. Let's just say it's your project management software. That's something that you can prove to the IRS that you need it for your business. And they can go to your project management software's website. They see how much it costs. So it's easy to prove that type of transaction. When it comes to things like Target and Amazon or Walmart, you can buy a range of anything from A to Z. Those are the ones that are most key to retain. So if they're paper receipts, if nothing else, put them in a shoebox. But taking pictures of them, keeping them on your computer is really helpful. And Elizabeth puts them on Google Drive for me so that we have that shared access to it. And I can see exactly what she purchased and know exactly where to categorize it.
Yes. Yeah. And with that, if someone is like not ready for HubDoc or is doing the receipt thing the way we've been doing it, like I have it by month and then by type of transaction. So it's like there's a folder that's like paying affiliates. There's a folder that's team and contractors, a folder that's software subscriptions and things like that. Okay. A question though, too, that you just made me think of with your answer. If like, let's say I go out to lunch with it's business related. I don't know why, but I'm doing something business related for lunch. And so it's a paper receipt. What should be the next step the person does with that paper receipt?
Sure. You should not crumple it in your pocket and find it in your washed jeans the next day. You should retain your receipt, take a picture of it on your phone, and upload it to your computer. If you're using HubDoc, you can upload it directly to HubDoc. If you are using QuickBooks, if you have the QuickBooks app on your phone, it's really easy to open the app, snap a picture, it goes straight to QuickBooks. That's the best way to deal with paper receipts.
And then I guess it doesn't matter like the quality of the photo. It's just like a good, decent, like shows what it is kind of photo.
Yes. As long as it shows the date of the purchase, who you paid, how much was paid, and if you want to go above and beyond, write a little memo in the corner. This was lunch with Jenna for meeting regarding XYZ.
Yes. Okay. I like that. And I've had to do that some of like noting what even was this. And, another thing too of like talking about keeping kind of a role a bookkeeper plays or even doing your own bookkeeping, but like Madison, when she's doing my books, will send me a message and say, hey, you purchased something on Amazon on this date. Here's the total. What was it? Because sometimes I don't pull those immediately, especially Amazon ones, because they don't come to my email right after like some other things do. So it won't be in there. And then I'm able to like go back and just look in Amazon and see, okay, what was it and get the receipt. So like places like that are always storing it for you. So if you had to like backtrack and you're like, wait, what was it? It's like Amazon will tell you what it was.
That's such a good point too, because again, if the IRS ever questions it, if you do have to go through an audit, you can go back and pull those receipts from Amazon. So again, it's best practice to just do it and already have it in your back pocket so you can feel comfortable and confident if you did ever get audited. But with things like Amazon, it's really easy to go back and pull that receipt if you needed to.
Yeah. And with like, I feel better knowing it's like all tracked beautifully and clean and that sort of thing, which that has not always been true for my business. So for someone's listening who's like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. Like I'm not attaching receipts in QuickBooks, like you'll be fine, but you should start doing it and take this as your like message and you'll have a lot more peace with it. But like, it's not the end of the world. And like having grace for yourself around all this is so important because it is a lot. And like you said earlier, like we do not start our business to do bookkeeping unless we are a bookkeeper like you. But generally speaking, most people listening aren't. So there's a lot to learn with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what other questions. So, if someone is listening, this was a particular person, a couple people actually said this of like, I don't ever look at my bookkeeping. I'm not doing that. Where do I get started with it? What would you, I know it's kind of hard when you don't know the specific situation, but how does someone get started when they're not doing anything right now?
Sure. I think the biggest thing is to start taking yourself seriously. If it's something that's just a side hustle and you kind of make money here and there, it's not a big deal if you're not looking at your books. But if you are wanting to do this thing and to make it a full-time gig, you have to take yourself seriously. Register as an LLC. Go to your Secretary of State's website where you can do that and apply for an EIN, an employer identification number, which you can do straight through the IRS. Open a business bank account. This is the key to starting your bookkeeping, is having a separate bank account that's separate from your personal. When you mix your personal and business, it's okay to do that, but it's so difficult to weed out, okay, what was this purchase for? Was it personal or business? And it takes 5 times as long as it would have taken you if it was just your business bank account. So anything coming in is your business revenue. Anything going out is your business expense. So when you're getting started with bookkeeping, whether it's a spreadsheet or a software, all you have is that one bank account and you can categorize every single transaction going in and out and then get yourself a good picture that you're doing. And make sure that you're doing this on a monthly basis so that you can see this month over month, because if you're not seeing this picture frequently, you're really kind of throwing spaghetti on the wall. Like, I don't know if I'm really profitable. Am I even doing this right? If you're looking at that picture frequently, you can actually know if you're doing it right or not.
Yes. Okay. And I love that you brought up the bank account stuff. I had not even thought about that for this episode, but yeah, that's such a huge thing. And it's also, again, like having grace, like when you start your business, especially if it's more gradual, it might be in your personal account for a while. That was true for me. I got it out quickly and separated it. But like, especially when you're a service business and you don't have many expenses to start, that was true for me. So it kind of felt like natural to leave it in my personal for a little bit because I was like, I'm not really spending that much money. But then it's like, yeah, I mean, it's so much harder to see like what exactly is happening in the business when you're keeping it together.
I have another tip for that as well. If you do feel like you don't have enough income at first and there's not enough money in your business bank account to pay for your business expenses, transfer money from your personal to your business and then pay for those expenses. Or if you did pay for something on your personal bank account, transfer that money immediately from your business back to your personal. So again, it's just that really clear division between the two so that when it comes tax time, it's so much easier to see exactly where everything stands.
Yes, that's great advice. Yeah, and then with like one thought too I have, you said doing it on a monthly basis. I like to, I mean, Madison knows this. Usually on Wednesdays, I actually didn't do it this Wednesday. That was yesterday on the day of this recording. I need to do it still, so it's gonna happen on Friday. But normally I have like a day every week where I'm like setting aside a certain time, usually in the afternoon because I don't need a ton of energy to do this. So saving that for like the later part of the day. But I will look at the numbers, see how everything's doing. And I'll also do the same thing for our personal finances at the same time. So that is kind of like integrating work and personal a little bit there, but it's like you're the owner of your business. You can do whatever you want. So for me, I do our personal budget of categorizing stuff there, which I use Mint for our personal budget, which is actually by QuickBooks. So it's kind of funny of like looking QuickBooks for the business, looking Mint, by QuickBooks for personal. But I have time that I'm setting aside every week to like just look at those numbers. And depending on what your business is like, that could be just, 15 to 30 minutes, or it could be an hour, but just making sure you're looking at it, like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Madison, another question for you. How do we know what to pay ourselves? That's the first part. Then how do we know what to save for taxes in the business?
Sure. A lot of people ask me this question, and this is a method that I use for myself and how I would advise any of my clients to be doing it. If you Google this question, you'll start to see all sorts of things that are like 20% of this number or 15% of this minus that, but it's really not a one size fits all calculation. So for your specific business, you want to take a look at that monthly net income. That is going to be on the profit and loss report that we talked about, with your revenue at the top, minus your expenses in the middle, and your net income at the bottom. So for the purposes of this example, we can use 10,000 is your net income. And then from there, you're going to calculate your tax savings, because that is a non-negotiable. You have to pay taxes and you want to be saving for that, hopefully on a monthly basis. So your estimated quarterly tax payments are usually 25% that you're paying on a quarterly basis. I like to multiply this number by 30%, just so there's a little extra wiggle room and cushion if anything else comes up that's unexpected. So in this example, we have 10,000 as that bottom number. 30% of that is 3,000. So we're going to take that out of what's available, and we're left with that 7,000. From there, we're also going to take into consideration, what is our business debt? Are we making payments on a credit card? Are we paying off a business loan? Are we paying off a big piece of computer equipment or a camera lens? And you're going to calculate all of those monthly payments, and you're going to shave that number out of the amount that's available for you to take home. So let's just say that that amount was $2,000. You're going to take it out of the 7,000 available, and we're left with 5,000.
Okay.
From there, you also want to look forward and see, am I going to be making any future big purchases? Am I doing a rebranding or a website redesign or hiring someone new that I just want to have a little bit of extra savings in my account for? So let's just say that you want to save $1,000 a month in this scenario. So you're going to take that out of what's available, and you're left with $4,000. At this point, this is your bottom number, and you just want to evaluate, what are my household bills? What is my personal lifestyle? How much do I absolutely need to take out of the business to pay myself? And if it's $4,000, then take it. Take all of it. But if it's really only $3,000 and you want to leave $1,000 in your business, then only take $3,000. You can kind of finesse it and see the numbers that work for you and your specific business. Again, it's not that one size fits all calculation, and it's really important to take all of these factors into consideration.
Yeah, I love that you're saying it's not one size fits all. And I mean, really, because I literally was just working on this, but until you're like becoming an S Corp as your tax filing status, you can really vary what you're paying yourself, because you're not putting yourself on a salary. And even with the S Corp thing, you really can vary it because you do the distributions that I'm learning about. But it is like, with that, it's like it can be one month when you have a really great month, pay yourself more. If you have a month where you need less in your personal life and you want to save more in your business, maybe preparing for a month where, say, it's no longer your busy season with weddings. Like if you're a photographer or even designers go through busy seasons and all different kinds of stuff. But I know that's how I did it for a long time, of just varying it depending on what was made. So
how do you do it?
Well, I'm about to have to change this, but right now I have that set number that I do every month, a set number. And then I've been doing quarterly bonuses, which really is similar to what I will now be doing as an S Corp. But I think that's like, for me, the number was a lot lower than the profits, but also more than I actually need with our personal finances, because this has been a really great year in business, and I have been making a lot more than we need. So that's kind of how I figured it out.
Okay. I've never asked you that question.
I know. Yeah. You're like just this random number coming out all the time. Yeah. That's which it really is like, I probably could have put a little bit more thought into like the number I'm pulling maybe, but it felt like it made sense, and it was giving Adam and I enough to like do everything we need to do, to tithe what we want to tithe, to save for retirement, and to work on like saving for this real estate stuff. So made sense. Okay. And then that second part about saving for taxes, I guess you kind of covered that. So you're saying 25 to 30% is what you'd recommend?
Yes. 25 to 30% of your monthly net income, which is your revenue minus your expenses. Actually make a transfer from your business bank account to a business tax savings account. That way it's out of sight, out of mind, and it's there when you need to send your money to the IRS. When you need to send your money, because it is a non-negotiable.
Yes. I feel like we summed it up on the bookkeeping side. I have another question for you, and then we'll move into rapid fire questions. And this one is off topic, but I do feel is so relevant. So you're a Christian and you infuse that into your business. Your business is new this year, so that's also fun, which I have a question for you about that as well. But you infuse your faith into your business as a bookkeeper. You're not working in a ministry. You're literally doing people's business books, and you infuse it into your business in a really beautiful way. And so I guess my question, I can kind of share this first to go with the question, but something cool you did that I guess this was right after I hired you, but you texted me a photo of a prayer you had written for my business, like praying over my business for success, praying over, and it was so many different things. And it was just beautiful and like literally made me cry because it was so nice. And just cool to have someone who is serving you in your business, and really in a partnership type way, even because like we were saying, bookkeeping is so vulnerable and such a like deep piece of your business for someone to be in. But having that of like someone praying over your business is really cool. So my question for you is like, what would you say to someone who's like, I want to incorporate my faith more into my business in ways like that?
Sure. So thank you for sharing that. I love getting to do that for my clients. It's actually, it's a great excuse to buy Erin Condren notebooks. So I have a notebook for each of my clients. And then on the very first page, I write a prayer for them as a person, and as a person first and a business owner second. So I'm praying for obviously the success of your business so you can live in a place of abundance, but I'm also praying for your marriage, if you're married, or your children, or just you as a human feeling loved and valued and seen and just cherished. And so that's how I incorporate faith. In addition to, I know you do this too, you have the sticky notes on your wall so you can visually see their names and just pray for them. I have the sticky notes on my bathroom wall. So I see your name every single morning when I'm brushing my teeth. And I pray for just you as a human and you as a business owner and for your business. But I think that it's just so, for me, faith is so essential in my life that it was just natural for me to incorporate it into my business. And that's how I take every single step forward with how I conduct my business.
Yeah, that's so good. And I love that you have it on the sticky notes in your bathroom. I didn't know that, but it really is like you are being like a prayer warrior for that person is what it feels like. And I love how you said you're praying not only for their business, but them as a person. And you've been like literally a friend to me, which I know we are friends, but like in addition to a bookkeeper, like throughout this whole year and with losing my dad, you were so like just a source of like comfort for me in that way. And so it is like, I guess the thing I want people to hear from that is like, it doesn't have to be business over here, faith and personal stuff over here. Like many of you listening are service-based businesses who are working one-on-one with clients. You're getting into their business with nitty-gritty stuff. It's like you can incorporate a lot of those personal aspects too. And it really could be something that helps you connect with your clients better, and grow your business and really just serve people in a unique way. So
totally. I love that. And one thing I like to think of too, as a service-based business owner, is that I'm acknowledging that there's a spiritual war going on. Like we're in a time when the enemy is there and he's trying to make us feel like we can't do this. And you're not a good business owner. You don't even know what you're doing. And there's so many lies. And I feel like I am the person that is putting these swords and shields in my business owner's hand to fight that spiritual war. Like what you're doing, you're being Jesus to other people. And that might seem super Christian-y, but you're a light. And the more that I can take that bookkeeping off of your plate, the more you can shine and be a light to other people.
I love it. I'm glad we got to mention that in this. And I hope people have stayed this long too to hear all that, because that's so important and amazing. Okay, before we close out, I'm going to have you tell everyone where to find you and all that good stuff. I have a few rapid fire questions for you. They're honestly kind of not that great as rapid fire, so you might have longer answers. But the first question, you recently left your job and went full-time in your business. Like like a month ago. It hasn't been that long.
Yep.
Yeah.
1 month.
Yes, and you have a new baby at the same time. You're a mama too. And so I know, just thinking about all that, there are so many listeners who listen to this podcast who are still in their 9 to 5, thinking about going full-time in their business. A lot of new mothers as well. I guess my question is, like, what advice do you have for them, kind of taking the mama route or the leaving corporate job, either one?
Totally. I think the best piece of advice is to get everything set up before you leave your job. I kept telling myself, if I have this many clients, then I can leave my job. But I should have spent my time setting up my CRM, my Dubsado, or setting up the way to accept payments, or my project management software, or my vision and mission statement. Because once you have those things in place, you are poised to take on clients quickly and effectively, instead of just saying, oh, if I have this many clients, then I'll leave and I'll figure out my systems and things later. It's just so much easier to scale when it's already in place.
That's so wise, of like not just looking at number of clients, but looking at how the business is set up before you leave. That's awesome. Okay. Another question, as someone who's newer to being full-time in your business is also fairly new as well, but what has helped you grow your business the most? Like, if you could think of one thing that has really helped.
Yes. Investing in a business coach. And I, again, am a very new business owner, so I don't have like buku amounts of sales going on. And it was really hard for me to part with that money. But when you find the right business coach, the money that you're parting with comes back to you tenfold, because they're the one that's going to be able to give you the insight. They're the one that's been doing this for 10, 15, 20 plus years. And when they give you that insight, you can have more sales and connect to more people and have a bigger audience and get your other people looking at you that wouldn't be looking at you before. So investing in the business coach really for me was key.
That's awesome. That's great advice. I love that. Okay, I have 2 more. A business software. We already talked about HubSpot. I was about to say the wrong name. What's a business software, though, another one that you feel like we all need to check out?
Well, you're a big proponent of Dubsado, so I'm just going to echo everything that you always say. You have so many good podcasts. I'm such a big fan of your podcast where you're talking about Dubsado. And it really is just such a good tool of keeping everything in one place, making sure everyone feels seen, that things can be automated when you're not even working in your business. It's just such a good software that I've already found is essential for me. And pretty much anything that comes out of your mouth, I have it too. So those are the softwares that I like.
Yes. Okay. I love that. And yes, Dubsado, I mean, yeah, talking about getting systems set up too, that's like a great one to get rolling with when you first start, because it's less to catch up on as you scale the business. Okay, the last question. You're a template customer, which is fun. And so my question for you there, I don't know if you're done with your website yet, but just in general, like someone who's thinking about a template, I know you're working with it now and getting it set up. What would you kind of say to someone who's thinking about getting a template?
Just do it already. There's just something special about Elizabeth. And there are many places that you can get templates, and they will be beautiful and they will work for your business. But Elizabeth just brings something extra to the table where she truly cares about you and your business's success. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but her resources are plenty. She walks you through exactly how to do it, and her customer care is top notch, so you can ask questions. And it feels like you're getting almost a one-on-one experience when you're really just paying for a template, because she cares so much.
Oh, thank you, Madison. That's
You're
so
welcome.
Sweet. Yes.
I mean it.
I love it. I love it. And I'm so excited for your new site. I cannot wait
Me
to see
too.
it.
I'm working on it.
Yes, that's so fun. Okay, so with all that in mind, seriously, thank you. This is so helpful. And you guys, if you found this beneficial, I want you to come tell me and Madison your takeaways. Tell us what you're changing. Tag us on Instagram, which now we need to say that, of like, where can everyone find you?
Yes. On Instagram, I am at Madison Dearly, Dearly. So that's where I hang out most of the time. There are pictures of my newborn baby's chubby cheeks all the time, and plenty of bookkeeping tips and tricks and things that you can find on how to do your own bookkeeping. And my website will be live pretty soon. So www.madisondearly.com.
Awesome. Okay. Yes. And we'll put all those in the show notes. So, okay, Madison, this was so fun hanging out. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the podcast this week, friend. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, I want to tell you about something. I would encourage you to check out my website template shop. Over on elizabethmccravey.com, you'll find Show It website templates, and they are easy to use, strategically designed, and created to help you book more clients and customers. Maybe your current website is really boring. I don't know, maybe it is, and maybe you don't want to hurt its feelings, but you know it's true. And your website needs to be strategically and intentionally designed in order for it to convert your viewers into raving customers. And that's what these website templates do on MShop. These are pre-made website templates built for the Show It platform where you can plug and play your content into the template with ease and then get started with a website that is made to actually make you money. Isn't that what we all want, right? So go shop the templates at elizabethmccravey.com/shop. That link is also in the show notes. And don't forget that you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening so that you never miss an episode. And I would so appreciate it if you left a rating and review for the show on Apple Podcasts, or even just share it with a friend. It's a great way to support the show and then give us your feedback. So thanks so much for listening.